It's going.
And it's live again. This is terrible.
It's terrible. Sorry.
YouTube, what are you doing to us? Can you turn the camera around, please?
Okay, that's right there. Ah, sorry.
So now...
Hello, hello.
Hello. Oh, we've been having a few technical problems here. It's not like it's only day 26 of doing
It's
this.
YouTube.
YouTube's changed their bloody app. So
the...
you go to press what you normally press and go live, and it says, sorry, you got to enable live streaming. What do you think we've been doing?
And it makes you scrunch your face up like this.
And it's meditation time.
It's meditation time.
Brain's not quite working. Like, what?
Breathe.
Day 26.
Yeah.
Oh, let me open up my computer, because if you're here and you're watching,
you
can
see
say
if they're
hi.
there?
I'm going to see if you're here.
Oh, awesome.
With the technical issues that we've had with the iPads.
Oh, you have a peacock now.
I do have a peacock
Very
now.
nice.
Peacocks. So how was that for you?
Well, you had yourself before. It was kind of narcissistic, wasn't it? So, how was it for me? Mm-hmm. It was busy today. It was a busy, it was, what is it? Wandering mind meditation?
Mm-hmm.
It was definitely a wandering mind meditation today.
Mind roaming.
Oh, mind roaming meditation. What did I say?
Wandering mind?
Wandering mind. Oh, okay.
But, you know.
Yeah. So, yeah, everything, lots of stuff was, well, not a lot, but just stuff was kind of coming in, and then another thing would come in, like, for example, the door sticks in the bathroom, so I wanted to sand it today. It's like, well, if I knock off that corner, it won't stick anymore because it's driving me nutty. So, yeah, stuff like this, like, totally arbitrary. Yeah. So I was quite busy today. I had this thought about choice. So, meditation, doing this sit and drop is a choice. So it's one of those choices that you have total control over, that you can make the choice to take a moment for yourself and just sit and take a little time, see what's up with your mind. Yeah, take a little time, see what's up with your mind.
You little poet.
Ah! So that was, that kind of popped in there. It was like, So yeah, so think about that one. That's a pretty good one. Because that, there's probably lots of things we don't have choice about, but this is one of those things, and it's beneficial. So yeah. So make the choice.
I like that.
You like it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm down with making the choice, making the agreement, sticking with it. I think it's powerful stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Just even without the benefits of the meditation, just doing those things.
Yeah.
And creating that space. And, we're saying meditation, but we are just, sitting and dropping into our minds. And so that word meditation can often seem very loaded for people who don't meditate and think that, there's a right way and that everyone else knows how to do it and that they can't and their mind won't stop and all of these things. And of course, meditation is not about stopping your mind. You can't stop your mind. And why would you want to? But you might want to learn how to tether it a little better so that it doesn't go off when you want it to come in. And we talked about this, and I think, when was it? A while ago now. I thought I was going to say. Oh, creating the space. So that's what I've been really thinking about, is that perhaps we need less meditation and more space so that we can create the meditation. So for most of us who are living very busy lives, especially if you've got, you've got kids and you've got your job and you've got your partners and you've got yourself and you've got like the world, there's lots and lots going on. So to try and drop out of that and straight into meditation, it seems kind of extreme. I think about the middle path. So it's my first kind of spiritual book that I read by the Dalai Lama, and just this idea of this extreme over here and this extreme over here, and that there is always a middle way, and that we can find our middle way. And maybe space is the middle way between chaos and meditation, right? And it's a gateway to out of one and into the other. So I've been thinking about that.
Well, but yeah, I mean, extreme is a excuse me. It's like a state, isn't it? It's like because if you would ask me to meditate for an hour, so if someone said, "Hey, you want to meditate for an hour," and you've never meditated and and you thought about it, you'd be like, "That's extreme. That's way too much to get started. I'll do 5 minutes." So this could be considered extreme for somebody like myself who's never done it. But actually, it's not extreme. You just kind of sit down. You just do. Yeah, it can be extreme if you think it's extreme, because it is a good chunk of time, but then once I did it wasn't extreme.
Right, because does it give you more time in a way?
Right, it's sort of like getting on your bike and somebody tells you have to, for example, you haven't ridden, but somebody says, "Okay, we're going to ride 10 miles up the street." I'm like, that's extreme. I'll ride in the parking lot.
Right.
But if you just actually got on and went out and came back and did the 5 miles out and 5 miles back, you're like, oh, that wasn't too extreme. So our minds, kind of tell us that how things are. Like, we have these reference points, and we create them in our own minds, what's extreme and what's not. And so when you said that, I was thinking, yeah, because for what we would consider extreme in one circumstance, if we looked at it differently, it wouldn't be extreme.
Everything's relative, right?
It's all relative.
So if the 10-mile bike ride, right? So when I first started riding, when I did the AIDS ride 10 years ago, I'd never ridden more than 10 miles.
Yeah.
Then that was a lot. But then one day I rode 100 miles.
Mm-hmm.
And so 10 miles actually was like, I'm going to the store. I'm just hopping on my bike.
Well, remember when we took your bike down a little hill?
Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm. The little tiny little...
It was where I lived on 4th and Irving, and it was like I was only a third of the way up this tiny hill, and I didn't know how to change gears on the bike because I'd only had a 3-speed bike before, and this had like 20 speeds on it or something. So I asked Samaj to come over. We were just starting to hang out, and he had to help me. I had to get on my bike and keep changing it because my pedals would just keep going round, and I couldn't get any traction. And I was like, "What number should I be on?" And it was a nightmare. And then I went on to ride to Los Angeles from San Francisco. So it's a relative.
Mm-hmm.
It is a relative thing, and you might think that an hour is extreme, but that's because we don't think that our minds are important.
Right.
So people you go and do an hour exercise. For some reason, an hour of exercise just seems normal. You can do an hour of exercise. You can spend an hour having coffee with a friend. You have an hour for lunch.
Mm-hmm.
But to sit with a mind for an hour, well, God, are you a monk?
Yeah, exactly.
Then
you're characterized as something, right?
But actually, if everything stems from our mind, then actually maybe spending that hour with the mind could benefit in all those other areas. And I can honestly say that I truly feel I'm definitely feeling that right now, right? And I think you can witness it in me as well. That there's been shifts. Been working on this for a while now, since we started, I guess, really consciously, was like 3 years ago when we went to the mountain and I got the message about juicing, and I didn't want to do it. And that was my first wise whisper that I found that I knew was something I needed to do, and I was really pissed when I found out what it was that I needed to do. And that's how you know it's a wise whisper, because you're pissed. And if you're pissed, then it means it's important. It's just like, this is not what I wanted to hear, but you asked, and so now you've heard, so you got to do it. So I did a year of juicing, but that was just getting into my mind, and even to having my tooth out yesterday. So I had a tooth extracted yesterday. I still haven't eaten since Wednesday night. It's Friday lunchtime-ish. But the fasting and the mind practice has really just helped with that, and I feel amazing. which if you told me, I was really scared about having my tooth extracted. I mean, I really was. I just thought it'd be awful.
And it's all good.
And it's amazing. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I really do feel good.
Because you said you thought. You see, that's a mind one, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's well, I thought that this was gonna happen, but how could you know?
But I'm stopping borrowing
Right.
tomorrow's troubles
Exactly.
today, so I'm not. I'm trying to be present to what is right now, rather than worrying about it. So even last Saturday, when cleaning my teeth and half a tooth falls out, that's quite just a tap tap in the sink and a big hole in my mouth, but was very calm, and that hasn't always been. I'm a very anxious person, and today I said that we were going live earlier because my nerves were jangling, and I just want to talk about this because everyone's like, what is up with you and your bloody nerves? Like, don't you have practices you can do to calm them nerves? We are emotional beings, right? Emotions, energy in motion, all of us. And the things that we don't like, the energy we don't like, we try and suppress. And we do that with various means, oftentimes with food and with our habits. And so this year, especially, I've been fasting 3 days a week for the last 5 months. And then we've been doing sit and drop. This is 26 days. So I've taken away a lot of my crutches, right? I've actually, on the one hand, the food, there's 3 days a week where I can't go and do my food thing, as even more, it's more controlled now than it was before. But I'd go around the kitchen, I want something, I'm not hungry, just mooching, got that moochy feeling. And so that's been a real difference. What was saying then, I kind of lost my train there. Thinking about that mooching. But just that change in, I don't have that crutch, so now I've got to face whatever's on in my mind, which means that I get these feelings in my stomach. I'm a Cancer too, so feel them very emotionally, and there's quite a lot of uncertainty going on right now, which I don't, I'm not a fan of uncertainty, or so I thought, but actually, what is certain? So becoming more a fan of uncertainty and getting friends with I don't know. But that doesn't mean that it's easy just because you decide that's what you're going to do. That's when the work begins. And so then the feelings come. And so that's what it's like in my stomach, which could reach for a packet of cookies if I wanted to. But that's not what I want to do right now. I want to sit with it. So now, like today, I said to someone, hey, you know what? My nerves are a bit jangly. Why don't we sit earlier? And that'll help. So now the meditation is also helping with that. So it's really freaking cool, to be honest. I think I'd rather spend an hour working out my mind than an hour working out my body. To be quite honest, I think that the benefit of that hour in my mind is so beneficial in so many other areas that the other stuff comes. But if you can make your time for this, the other stuff comes. And maybe it's not a full hour a day. I mean, when I started with TM, it was Transcendental Meditation, it's 20 minutes morning and night. You could do 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes at night. Just start to sit and get with your mind. Just sit and drop into how you're feeling. And, we'll all feel fine. Like, how are you doing? Oh, I'm fine. Fine is like the rudest 4-letter word that there is, because it means nothing. It means, what is fine? Who wants to be fine? What is fine? How are you feeling? Do you know how you're feeling? And do you know why you're feeling like that? And then you start to get into that, then you know why you're reaching for the food or the alcohol or the cigarettes or whatever it is that's keeping you where you don't want to be.
It's like when you're asked, how are you? But no one really wants to know. And so when people start telling people actually how they are, they're like, oh my God, really? Are you telling me that? Yeah, you ask. But no, that's not what they mean. So, so that's
And the idea that we always have to be fine as well is,
you
don't. You don't want to be a moaning complainer, of course, but be human. But especially for yourself, allow yourself to feel those feelings. I think that's very powerful. I definitely didn't really feel many feelings before I was 34. And the thing is, if you're not feeling the feelings, then something else is happening with those feelings. So I didn't necessarily feel my feelings at 34, but I was 212 pounds. I was wearing them, holding on to them. They were holding on to me because I didn't feel them and I didn't want to know what they were. So they just came and sat on me, and more and more and more. And then when you start to take them away, now you start to feel very vulnerable because that's your feelings, that's those emotions coming back, being revisited. And so it's an interesting time, this delayering. But like an onion, we don't want to get straight to the core, but just peeling each layer off, shedding a few tears as we do so, but getting down to it. So yeah, I don't think I have much more. It's quite quiet. I love those hummingbirds. We're at home, so where we live we're quiet. We live in a very quiet place. We have our hummingbirds. The crows were out. The shapeshifters. Shapeshifters. I was like, that doesn't sound right.
Shapeshapers.
Thanks, brain. Thanks, brain. Yeah, so that was about it. So we will be back tomorrow. This is day 26. Wowzer! 26 consecutive days of sitting for 1 hour and then coming to you and sharing with you what's going on in our little minds. Just because.
We can. Just because we can.
And because I said we would. And because you keep us accountable as well. And that's really a beautiful thing. It's so easy. My brain still wants to tell me oftentimes that it's a waste of time or I'm deluding myself or that's the talk. And that's the talk that you go, thank you very much, and I'm going to sit down again. Thank you very much, and I'm going to sit down again. And so it's working. Keep working it. I think that's about it, really. I'm going to go and work on the new gift that we got, new opt-in gift when you come over to the feelbetterlife.com. We're going to be having a 10 steps to shift into peace. So I'm going to go write that now. We'd love to hear from you. Are you sitting and dropping? Is it something that you've been wanting to do but you're scared to do? Do you think you don't know how to do it? You're worried that you don't know the right way, or you don't have an altar to sit in front of, or you've got no meditation room to sit in. You don't need any of those things. You can do it in your car. You can do it at your desk. You can do it on the bus. I don't have my sunglasses with me, but I've said this in previous ones. Sunglasses. This is the perfect meditation tool for public. So you can sit on the bus. I used to sit on the bus going to the office in London. It was an hour and something on the bus, and I'd put my sunglasses on, I'd close my eyes, and I'd go into meditation. Brilliant. It's really good on the plane too. Actually, this is a really good tip. If you're one of those people like me who gets on a plane and the person next to you thinks, oh, I want to talk to you, but you're not really a person who really likes talking to the person on the plane because you just don't, it's too close. Like you're going to be there for however many hours. Like if I'm going to England, 10 hours, I've got you next to me. Like, I don't want to be talking to you all that time. So what I did when I was first traveling, when I was still an attorney and I was starting to meditate, was I would get on the plane and I would sit like this. And the person would come and they'd put their bag down, and this is still 15 years ago. Longer, is it? How long is it? I don't know how long it's left, but anyway, a while ago. So meditation wasn't as mainstream as it is today. So they kind of look and think, oh, she's a freak. And then not want to talk to me. Fantastic. Mission accomplished. And then generally, at some point during the flight, you will have a conversation, but at least you're not like tied in right at the beginning, because that could just be terrible.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another. So it can be very good to just get people to just stay away. Can't you see I'm meditating?
That'll make them run in itself.
It will, won't it?
Yeah.
So yeah. So there you go. There's our tips and tricks for today, and our after chat for day 26. We will be back tomorrow, day 27. Spin class in the morning, so it's most likely going to be 12:12 tomorrow that we go live. We will see you then. Sat Nam.
Sanam.
Love you, love you, love you.
Love you, love you, love you.
Love you more.